Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Childbirth with Grace.tv. My name is Ilia Blandina, and I'm your host. And I've been away for a couple of months uh, doing some administrative work, and we've had some replays, encore replays from previous classes. So today we're going to start a new season, and I'm really excited to let you know that I have started collecting a list of books that are really great to read when you're pregnant and for childbirth preparation. So as a midwife, I've always had many people ask me, hey, what's the best book to read? And I'm going to start off with two books during this series. And also one of the things that you'll notice is that I'm going to try to make the classes a little bit shorter, so that way we can breeze through this. Please, by all means, leave comments either on my fan page or down below, and I will read them and answer them after the broadcast. So let's not waste any time. I'm really excited about doing this. I'm going to go over two books really briefly today that I've used personally for myself to become prepared for childbirth, and also have recommended to my clients. So the very first book that I read back in let's see, back in this is before I was a midwife, but I was a nurse. I want to say it's 1987, as I was pregnant with my first child, was this one here called Spiritual Midwifery by Ina May Gaskin. And if, there you go. All right. And if any of you guys out there are familiar with Ina May Gaskin, she's a wonderful midwife that did a lot of beautiful home births and birth center births. And this book is just beautifully written with tons and tons of personal stories of women having natural childbirth and beautiful, excellent photographs. I really enjoyed it. They're very heartwarming stories. So in it, there's basic information about what to expect, you know, during childbirth, and anatomy and physiology and things like that. But what is probably the best part of it is just all the stories that were placed, that are personal stories from women having birth. So great book. And all these deliveries, they give statistics. It's over 1,700 deliveries as of the making of this book, which was released. This is the third edition that I read. So as of the making of this book, it was, the deliveries were managed by the farm midwives. So check it out. It gets into how to take care of yourself while you're pregnant, preparing for your birth, you and your baby. Different prenatal care, how the baby's lying in relation to your pelvis, different wonderful information. Gets into breastfeeding and how to help with that, and beautiful stuff. I loved it back in 1987. And here's a picture of Ina May with one of her babies in the book there. She's basically the midwife that pretty much everyone goes to for advice on how to do home births and mother of home births. It seems good stuff. So I love this book. So as I review all the different books, just down on the childbirthwithgrace.tv, I have a little button, and it says bookstore, and it'll take you straight to how you can buy the books. And I have other books. I already started piling them up in there, and I'll start writing reviews and on my blog and that kind of thing. So this is like the beginning. Now, in my personal journey of having babies, I've had 4 babies. As a midwife, I've attended over 5,000, but me, myself, and I, 4 babies. And I always wanted to have an out-of-hospital birth at a birth center or at home. I just really felt drawn to that. And as a client of birth center, something always seemed to happen with the births, whether it was back labor, so therefore it lasted a long time, and I needed help, or the baby pooped inside and I have to be transferred for that, and then one of my babies was upside down, and just so many different things. But my last pregnancy I had here in South Florida, and I actually was able to have him at home. And with that pregnancy, so what I'm doing is, the very first book, I read a bunch of books in between, but the very first book I read with my first pregnancy was Spiritual Midwifery. And then as a pregnant mom, I was advised to read Birthing from Within. And this ended up being my go-to book. If you could only read one book to get you ready for childbirth, this is what I recommended for a lot of my clients when I was doing deliveries. And Birthing from Within is awesome. It's written by Pam England, who's a certified nurse midwife, and Rob Horowitz, who's a psychologist. And they really get into the internal journey of how it is to birth, and this is really like the basis of my teachings here at Childbirth with Grace. I combine elements of all the things that I've read, but a lot of elements of childbirth with Birthing from Within, and tapping. So, and it's a meld of all the experiences that I've had with clients, and how to really become aware of your internal journey and how that affects your birth. Because with my 4th baby, I finally got that out of hospital birth experience, and it was like it was the easiest birth, because I ended up being the most prepared mentally. And here at childbirthwithgrace.tv, and that's my mission, is to help you get guidance to actually create a graceful experience, hence Childbirth with Grace, during your labor. So a really great book, Birthing from Within. What I love about this book is it really gets into explaining different ways of looking at pain, and I actually incorporated that into my Warrior Goddess Within labor pain management series. But I also put in my other techniques of using tapping and how to experience the pain. And that series isn't over yet. We took a pause, but we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna retouch on that in the summer at one point. So the other thing that I loved about this book is it really got into using drawing and painting to discover where you're at with your pregnancy and how you view your pregnancy. There's just beautiful examples of that in her chapter 9, Discovery Through Drawing and Painting. So lovely, lovely information in this book. She really gets into why it's important to use art in helping you become ready for birth. The other part of this book that I used, it was awesome. I got into, let me see if I can get it. Where'd it go? Here we go. Chapter 12 was really cool. Preserving your shape, shift, and making a belly cast. So part of my journey with my last baby is I was introduced to belly casting, and I did several belly casts, and I'll probably put those pictures up on the fan page of different belly casts that I made. I did it for myself. It's really cool. Let's see, make sure I get this in here right. Oh, there you go. Wait. That's it. I'm gonna redo here. This is driving me crazy. There you go. So awesome belly casting. I really got into that. Anyone who's local who would love, we can have a belly cast party. How about cool? Wouldn't that be cool? Have a belly cast party. I ended up doing that with several of my clients, ended up making their belly casts, and I have photos of that, so I'll post that up on the fan page. But that was really fun to do, and it's really great. I mean, some people were like, well, what am I going to do with my belly cast? Some people have made a bowl out of their belly. Other people have made what you hang it up on the wall as a piece of art. There's just so many things you could do as a belly cast kind of art project, and especially since it was my last baby, it was really nice that I got introduced to that with him, because I got to sort of preserve the memory of what it was like to be pregnant. So whenever I feel like, oh, you could put on the belly cast, I'll take pictures of me with my belly cast. I'll post it up so you can see what I'm talking about. Let's see what else. There's just this book is just filled with beautiful information, not only about your inner journey, but also a lot of really good information about anatomy and physiology, what happens during birth, labor land etiquette. I like that chapter 31. Beautiful. It's a great book. Gotta get this book, gotta read it. You'll see a lot of my stuff is based off of this book and based off of tapping. So you will really enjoy this. This is by Pam England, and it's also in the bookstore. So just press on that button for the bookstore, and you'll start seeing all the books I'm starting to recommend. So with that, that's today's class, and as you can see, I'm really paring it down and trying to make it a lot easier to use, so a little bit more fast-paced. But please, by all means, join in the conversation on the fan page. Put in comments. I'll list the books there too, and links to where you can buy them. And I will see you next week. So I'm going to have a really great lineup. I think there's going to be an interview with Jenny Johnson, who is the author of Tapping into Past Lives. So stay tuned for that. I'm also developing 2-day live workshops. So if you're close by in the South Florida area. Stay tuned for that. We're going to get together and do a 2-day intensive to get you ready for childbirth. And if anyone is interested in bringing my 2-day workshops to their area, just message me and we'll get the ball rolling for that. So as always, between here and the next class, keep tapping, stay present, and know that your celestial family is there for you to awaken your life power to a childbirth with grace. So I will see you next week. All right, bye.